entrepreneurship has never been more important, right? That's why I'm here, just to get started. Quit trying to figure out all the answers and get it right and be perfect. It's when you pick up a shovel and start digging that you find out how hard the ground is, where the rocks are. Ideas are welcome here, but execution is worshipped.
I'm joined by Jeff Hoffman, Chairman of the Global Entrepreneurship Network. Jeff, welcome to FII Institute TV.
Thank you, and thanks for having me today.
It's a pleasure to have you. You've just delivered a masterclass on the subject of turning ideas into market-leading growth here as part of the FII Ventures program, I believe. Tell us how this aligns with the FII9 theme of prosperity for all.
All over the place where people don't have prosperity, one thing they do have is ideas. I go to some of the worst places in the world where we want to bring prosperity, and there's really intelligent people that have great ideas, but no idea what to do with them. They say to me, I have an idea, I just don't know where to start. So the masterclass was about how to take your great idea and scale it into something big.
And I believe you have a motto on your walls about ideas. Can you tell us about that?
I do. In frustration, many years ago, listening to a lot of people saying what they're going to do, but not actually doing it, I wrote on my door, ideas are welcome here, but execution is worshipped. It's all about getting up and getting going.
And that was the essence of your masterclass talk
but
here.
Specifically some ideas on how to shape your brand, how to narrow the focus on who the right customer is. It was specific things to do to cause your company to accelerate its growth.
You've spent your whole career turning ideas into opportunity, haven't you? How can entrepreneurship genuinely drive prosperity, not just profit, in a world that's facing greater inequality?
Yeah, I think entrepreneurship has never been more important, right? That's why I'm here. Because we can't count on governments or large corporates. They all move a little too slow to make those changes. And the people that know what needs to be done are the people that live in that problem, in that city, in that village. Entrepreneurship is a mindset, right? I'd like to rename it and call it self-determination. It's the mindset of saying, I see the problems where I live, I know how to fix them, give me some resources and I'll bring prosperity to the place I live. That's why we teach the skill set and the mindset of entrepreneurship, because it leads to prosperity.
You helped create a platform, Priceline and Booking.com, which transformed global travel, didn't it? What were the key decisions that made that such a outstanding and durable success?
One of the biggest decisions is risk, right? Before that, the internet was brand new, so we're taking a big risk. Will people buy things from their computer? And the other part is we're changing behavior. So that's the real big risk. Consumer behavior was I call a travel agent and I talk to them about my trip and they book it for me. And now we're saying you don't need to speak to a human anymore. You can go online and you can book online travel by yourself. So that was probably the biggest thing, was how do we get people to change a behavior they've had for their entire lives? And that was our challenge.
And that was what essentially turned that idea into a multi-billion-dollar global brand?
Yes, the company today does business in 220 countries and territories. It's a market cap of like $170 billion now. But the real driving force for success was team, was building surrounding yourself with people smarter than you, empowering those people, and letting the experts take their part of the company and grow it. That's when we really saw growth, when we built an amazing team.
What's the key moment when an entrepreneur knows that they're building something that they can really scale up massively?
It's the inflection point, and I did talk about that in the masterclass here at FII today. The inflection point is when sales switch from outbound to inbound, and let me just quickly explain that. Most of the time, outbound is, I'm telling you about my product. We call it marketing, I call it begging, right? I'm telling you about my product, I'm trying to convince you to buy it. One day, the inflection point is my phone rings and somebody calls and says, hey, I want to buy your product, and I've never spent any money marketing in you. When your brand lives bigger than your sales effort and people start inbound calling you to buy your product, that's the inflection point of scale.
Many founders struggle when their startup begins to scale up. What's the biggest mental shift that an entrepreneur has to make when they reach that stage?
I think there's a couple things. One is mentor and tribe. You have to realize that even though you feel alone and you feel like you're failing, your heroes failed along the way too, and they felt that way. So recognizing that many people before you have felt just this way, but they got up again the next day and kept going, you need someone to tell you that. And you need people who've been there and done that and survived that to tell you that you're going to survive this low point. So I always tell people, not only do you need a mentor, but create a tribe. Find people who have been there and done that and reach out to those people in those moments and say, I just feel like giving up right now. Nothing's working. And they'll tell you their story of how they survived that, which will help you realize that you're going to be okay.
Here at FII9, we're seeing an enormous amount of ambition, aren't we? Does this region have the talent required amongst its young entrepreneurs to take the next step?
It most definitely does. I've been spending a lot of time not only here in Riyadh and in the kingdom, but in the region in recent years because of that reason. I currently mentor and work with a lot of young entrepreneurs from the region. We don't want that talent to leave. We want them to stay here and create and innovate where they are. There are plenty of passionate, intelligent entrepreneurs right here in the kingdom, in the Gulf, with great ideas. What we all need to do, and the whole FII community, is we need to make sure there's an ecosystem around them, everything from regulations and rules to funding and mentorship to increase their odds of success.
Will we be seeing these people at the MISC Entrepreneurial World Cup, which I believe you're involved in?
Yes. So next week we have the global finals of the Entrepreneurship World Cup, and in fact, we've had last year our winner was a Saudi company that I think we had 20,000 entries across 200 countries, and the innovator that won was a company actually based here in Saudi Arabia.
Finally, what's the one single piece of advice you would give to a young Saudi entrepreneur now? One single-minded piece of advice.
And that piece of advice is just get started. Quit trying to figure out all the answers and get it right and be perfect. Get up and get started. It's when you pick up a shovel and start digging that you find out how hard the ground is, where the rocks are, sometimes where the power lines are. But nothing happens when you're sitting in the couch looking outside at the dirt. You got to get up, pick up your shovel and start digging. Just start your idea and you'll figure it out once you get going.
Jeff Hoffman, thank you very much indeed for appearing on FI Institute TV. Thank you.
Thank you again.